Blazers and Raptors. Pascal Siakam with the nice move to score on Embiid.
Tough game for Siakam. Embiid was meeting him at the rim throughout.
Not efficient.
25. Yeah, 36% from the field.
Better second half than the first half.
For basically everyone on Toronto, that was the case. Toronto, man, was in control the second half, just never could get the lead.
Blazers Nuggets. Gary Harris goes up and under the rim to make an incredible reverse lay.
Amazing hang time here. My guy, Jokic, with the classic bounce pass.
He's your guy now.
I got to be, man. People in Denver on Nick Wright's back about Jokic. You got to give him some respect, man. Hang time by Izzo's guy. Michigan State, Gary Harris, good athlete.
Speaking of Jokic.
Same game. Damian Lillard's vicious step back before knocking down the three over Jokic.
Nobody. That's not his fault. Jokic was tremendous last night. Dame said after the game that the Blazers got out of the mindset they had against OKC, doing too much gripe into the refs, too much whining.
Really?
That's what Dame said.
Send that message out. He needs to be the head of the Players Association.
Dame's really upped his standing, I feel like, in the league on and off the court this playoff run.
Moving on to the Miami Dolphins and their new signal caller, quarterback Josh Rosen. Rosen getting ready for his second team in just 2 years in the league. And though the 22-year-old will have his work cut out for him, competing for a starting job over 15-year veteran Ryan Fitzpatrick, Rosen is excited for the opportunity. He said, quote, "I think it's time I had some legitimate adversity handed to me." Here's Rosen on changing the narrative about him.
Had a bit of a bad perception at first, but what I've tried to do is just not really say or do anything extra, just kind of be me and continue on and keep my head down, and eventually the story will straighten out. And I think it has for the most part. But like I said, that's another thing that's out of my control. What is in my control is just what I can do every day, and basically just try and be consistent, be the same guy. Have the same kind of energy every time I step into the locker room and in the facility, so that all of my teammates kind of know what guy they're getting. So I think time and consistency is the best case to best medicine almost to cure the ill narratives.
All right, CC, if Josh Rosen is going to be successful with this organization, what is he going to have to do?
Well, it's tough on young quarterbacks. And this is a league that I tell people consistently that it's about being in the right system. Less than 1% of the players, and I'm talking about the greatest of the great, forget the average mediocre players, the greatest of the great, they all need a system. Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, those are mentioned, Deion Sanders, those are a few. Lawrence Taylor, like those are the few players through history that they can play in any system because they had that type of raw talent. People like myself, we need a system. And I believe that Jim Caldwell and what they're going to do with the Dolphins, because he's going to get the immediate opportunity. Because with Ryan Fitzpatrick, oh, he's going to beat him out. That ain't going to take very long. He's been on the cake-eating circuit this offseason. So that's one of the things as a young quarterback, he's going to get game reps. You don't get better. You can't practice quarterback in the NFL just by practice. You got to get in the game. Because I can't simulate the rush. I can't simulate those things. And I believe that Jim Caldwell will start with protection. Offensive line in Miami is not great, all right? But they're better than what they had in Arizona.
Yes.
And I know what they won't be. Because last year, Josh got sacked 17 times in the NFL in his 13 starts within 2.5 seconds. Led the NFL.
By far.
So now I'm going to tell you something, because I'm a guy that I can read defenses. But unless he took some high-level speed reading, in 2.5 seconds, I ain't got time to do nothing. So he didn't even have a chance. So to say that he had a failed rookie season, you don't know football. Because if you don't give a quarterback a chance to read the defense, if you don't put people in front of me so I'm not going to get hit. Now, we're not talking about, he don't have the typical upbringing of a regular NFL quarterback. Now, he was a young tennis player. So, as he would say, he ain't had no real adversity. As I said in the draft, in my draft kind of breakdown of him, I thought that would be an issue. At least he's dealing with it out front. But the NFL and being a quarterback, I believe he has a real chance, though, in Miami.
And so much of the pre-draft commentary on Josh Rosen was about his commentary, things he would say, whether or not he'd be a problem in the locker room. He has handled himself as a professional perfectly in that regard. Not a single controversial comment, no anonymous reports from teammates, certainly not on the record reports from teammates. He was a bad guy. We know what Larry said about him when he stayed after being traded for, to participate in Fitzgerald's softball tournament. The only negative comments about Josh Rosen off the field were from Steve Smith because he had the audacity to unfollow the Arizona Cardinals on Instagram shortly before he was traded. I think he handled this offseason really well, knowing he was almost assuredly going to be traded, but still showing up to everything. But what he does need, he said it right there, is time, but not just time to grow as a player, time to what C's talking about, time in the pocket without being swallowed alive. He led the NFL in those sacks under 2.5 seconds, despite not playing a full season. Despite having fewer dropbacks than the other. Eli Manning was sacked 14 times on 160 more.
Right, started 16 games.
Absolutely. Same with Deshaun Watson. And so those were the only guys sacked 12 or more times in that 2.5 second or less time frame. And they all were full-time starters. And so any offensive line is going to be better than the one he had in Arizona. You would think most offensive game plans, and you mentioned Caldwell, are going to be better than the one he had in Arizona. Arizona's got a more the Dolphins have a more reliable running game than Arizona did, and they have Fitzy's an all-time great, but what the Dolphins have is more speed on the outside, dynamic, put the ball in their hands, guys.
Yes, I'd much rather have their wide receivers in Albert Lewis, Devontae Parker, and Kenny Steele.
Albert Wilson. Yep.
Albert Wilson, yes.
And
yes.
So the guys,
Kenyon Drake coming out of the backfield.
Yes, guys that you don't have to wait a long time. You can throw a quick slant, let them go. Throw a bubble screen. So for all those reasons, and because he did get to go somewhere where he's not going to have to play a ton of cold weather games, I think this was a really good fit for him on this phase of his career.
How much more do we know about Josh Rosen because of the year he spent in Arizona? Or when we look at him, are we thinking about his time spent in college because last year was an anomaly?
Well, this is the thing. I think people evaluated him as a quarterback, even though he did get some criticism of some of the things that he said. Ultimately, he determines his own fate. But the reality of this is a tough business, and this business is not meant for everyone. He's already with his second team. So how mentally tough is he? Those are the things that we don't know. How much does he want this? He came from a family that was well off. So his motivation is typically different than a lot of other NFL players. If he has another season where he's getting sacked, is he willing to stomach that? Is he going to work on his body? Because he's still got to be able to make some changes. Get physically stronger so that his arm can get a little bit stronger. Those are things that I don't know. But we're getting ready to find out. You can only go to so many teams. And he's already in his second year with his second team. So he better try to make it work there in Miami because they are in pursuit of a franchise quarterback and have been in pursuit since number 13, Dan Marino, retired there in Miami.
And we don't know if last year was an anomaly. I think it was. I think it was rookie quarterback, bad offensive line, bad running game, all those situations. But we will find out if last season was like Jared Goff's rookie year, an anomaly, or like Geno Smith's rookie year, where it was no. That's just kind of who he's going to be as a quarterback. As far as him being on his second team, it did take, in my mind, a perfect storm of events. I think if the Arizona Cardinals had the third pick of the draft and Kyler went off the board 1 or 2, I don't think they were in a rush to get rid of Josh Rosen. I think they would have been fine staying with Josh Rosen, but because Kyler was there and they thought he was a special player, they took him. If Kyler had gone to play baseball, would Josh Rosen still be on his first team? I believe he would be, and there wouldn't be all this noise surrounding him.
My opinion don't matter a whole bunch. But the NFL draft showed what the NFL's opinion of Josh Rosen was.
As far as what his trade value was?
What did they trade for him? What did they end up getting for him? What did the street say? All right, the street said he was worth a second-round pick or less because they got another second-rounder back. So forget my opinion. The NFL told you this weekend with the draft. We ain't in love with him. We don't like his skill set. He's not a big guy, don't have a big-time arm, and potentially could his attitude be a problem in the NFL. That's what the other teams in the NFL said, that he was not worth us changing what we're doing or putting value as far as a high draft pick. I'm already through the roughest part of his contract. He had the most friendly contract of a quarterback that you're going to see. So the lack of interest in him, that spoke.
All right. Let's take a break. Hey, who has the best player in the NBA playoffs this postseason? That's next on First Things First.